Hello to all our sisters and brothers of the Machinists Union and allies of the labor movement. This is the 141 Report, and I'm your host, Dave Lehive, a communications representative for District Lodge 141. This week, we're Zoom traveling to Chicago, as our topic today is about officers of District Lodge 141. Several of our 141 officers in the Chicago area have taken some time today to come on the 141 Report and talk about being an IM member and the work that they do as officers of our union. Join us as our 141 Report starts now. Hello, brothers. It's good to see you all today. I know it was a challenge with your busy schedules to come on today, the 141 Report. So welcome. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey,
Good, Dave. Thanks for having us.
Dave.
Glad to have you on. So because we have four of you on the program, we got to get moving. So to start out, let's get the introductions going. So can you please tell me, each of you, where you got hired and what airline you got hired with, how you got involved with the Machinists Union, what positions you've held leading up to the positions that you are currently holding now. So I'll tell you what, senior man is Eric. Eric, why don't you go first?
Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Stenberg. I'm Assistant General Chairman and Safety Chairman with District Lodge 141. And my union career started when I was hired at United Airlines in 1986. This was after a couple of times earlier working as a temporary employee. I started as a RAM serviceman, and a couple of years into that, I decided to get more involved with the union and became a shop steward and also a lead RAM serviceman. And through the years, I progressed from being a shop steward to a safety advocate, the committee grievance chairman in Chicago, and then president of Local Lodge 1487, which is the largest air transport local in the United States. In 2008, I ran for assistant general chairman with District Lodge 141, and I currently hold that position along with my collateral duties and safety. Besides being the safety chairman, I'm also the IAM's representative on the National Safety Council Labor Advisory Board. And I'm also on the working group for ACAO ITF. And that's my union history.
Thanks, Eric. Joe, why don't you go next, please?
Hey, everybody. I'm Joe Bartz. I started with United in 1989 in the flight kitchens, that rotten place nobody likes to talk about. I transferred into stores in 91, got involved in the union in the late 90s. I was in a smaller group and just didn't feel like we were being represented very much. Started out as a shop steward, got the unofficial position of stores committee person and safety rep, got involved in the local lodge as a trustee, vice president, and when Mr. Stenberg became an AGC, I became the only storekeeper ever to be president of Local 1487. In 2010, I ran for AGC and was successful, and I've held that position since.
Thank you, Joe. Tell you what, Mike Siscon, I don't know who's senior. I'm trying to go on seniority there. I don't know. Is Cortuccio? Are you?
Cortuccio will be senior next, so go ahead, Mike.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, hello, everyone. Mike Cortuccio, AGC, stationed here in Chicago. Yeah, I was hired into United Airlines May of 1986 in the flight kitchen, and I agree with Joe Bartz in Detroit, Michigan. After about a year being in the kitchen, I was facing a layoff. So in 1987, I transferred to Chicago to the ramp. And over the years, wanted to get more involved with the union and became a shop steward. And then from the shop steward, ended up around 2005 being elected to the grievance committee. And the grievance committee held all three positions there as the grievance committee secretary, the ramp and stores committeeman, and then the grievance chair. And then in 2010, was elected as an AGC to District 141.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Brother Siscon, sorry about that, but
Oh,
go ahead, please.
Okay, Dave. Hi, I'm Mike Siscon. I'm an assistant general chair with District Lodge 141. I started with United Airlines in October of 1987. Became a shop steward in the early 2000s. And a few years later, 2005, I joined Mike Cortuccio and Alex Geroulis in the committee office. And from there, I held all three positions as a committee secretary, committeeman, and committee chair. In 2013, I was appointed to vice president at large for District 141. And then a few years later, I was appointed by President Mike Clem as assistant general chair.
Okay, great. So brothers, 4 of you are AGCs, and to help our members and viewers get a better understanding, could one of you or the 4 of you kind of give us a description of your duties as an AGC? I know you guys have a lot to do. So maybe you guys could just kind of give our viewers a little bit. Joe, why don't you start out?
I drew the short straw, I see. So basically, as an AGC, you're responsible to administer the contract. You handle the grievances, committee people, shop stewards. Some of us are lucky enough to be involved in negotiations, do arbitration cases. Basically, you ensure that once a grievance is filed, it's handled properly from start to finish. Station visits are a big thing that we do a lot of. The members like to see us, so we get out there as much as we can. And basically, it's just trying to make sure our members are protected and feel like their union is working for them.
Some of the other things we do, one of my big things is safety, involved promoting safety. We work in a very dangerous environment, all our different classifications. So safety's key. Listening to the members, taking the time to listen to them, because the members are going to tell you what they need and questions they have. And one other thing is organizing. All of us are organizers. When we see an opportunity, we'll go out there and try to organize groups that aren't organized. You know, this group has been involved with organizing different groups that we brought into District 141. 2 groups I was involved with were after the merger, the Continental Ground School Instructors, which became FTIs, and the maintenance instructors at Continental. Both groups were management at Continental, and now they're union brothers at the merged United and Continental.
Great, Eric. We did a story about FTI not too long ago, and they talked
great
about
work.
they talked about how happy they are being in the IM. So that was great report. You know, one other thing I think you guys missed is the education. You guys are all involved in education too. When our educators are out in the field, I see you guys sitting in there in the education classes, and you assist and you help clarify and you answer questions and you work with these committees and you work with the shop stewards. And I think that's something else that our members might not be aware of. And I know that's a big deal, is training our members and passing that knowledge on. And you guys are experts, you know, the knowledge that you have and helping our committees get through challenging times. So that's something else we might have missed. So let me talk about traveling. Joe mentioned it a little bit. So you guys have a lot of traveling and you go around the country. Could you guys tell me one by one what stations you guys work with and the groups that you work with? Eric, why don't you start out?
Well, my largest assignment is the Chicago ramp here in Chicago that I share with Mike Siscon. There's about 2,400 ramp servicemen in Chicago. Work with a great committee there. Then I also am in charge of all the maintenance instructors the IM represents, and they're in San Francisco, Denver, Chicago, Newark, and Houston. I represent the fleet technical instructors, which are based at the Denver Flight Training Center, which you did a great story on. And there we also represent the media, the flight training, and the emergency procedure instructors. I also have emergency procedure instructors in San Francisco and Chicago. So I have all those different areas. And as a collateral, I work with safety, have a great safety team at the district, led by Bill Salo from United Airlines and Tony Deloiso from American Airlines.
Thank you. Joe?
I have all of Cleveland, all of Orlando, all of St. Louis, all of Kansas City, and all the storekeepers east of Chicago, which compromises Houston, Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Newark, Dulles, Boston, Orlando. I'm sure there's a few that I missed.
Yeah.
I also have 2 UGE stations, Milwaukee and South Bend, Indiana. And I also was the lead negotiator for the SMX Cargo Group, which just ratified their agreement not too long ago. That took quite a bit of time as well. So those are my assignments as of
Okay.
now.
All right. Brother Catuccio.
Yeah, I've got the customer service group here in Chicago. So that's the largest group I have. Also in Chicago, we have the United Ground Service. So we have all the agents in Chicago with United Ground. Also I have Pittsburgh and Fort Myers, Florida. So those are the stations of my collateral. And also for the district, I handle all the discussions with the company when it comes to arbitration. So selecting arbitrators, following up with AGCs when we determine to appeal grievances to the system board, scheduling. We're actually doing that right now, getting ready to schedule all of 2022.
Okay.
So those are the responsibilities I have.
All right. Just a real follow-up question. How many people would you have, say, in Chicago with the customer service group? How big is that group?
It dipped a little bit. I think, give or take, right around 1,000, 1,100
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.
CS agents.
Brother Siscon.
Yeah, so as Brother Eric stated, I share the ramp in Chicago with Eric. I also have the Washington Dulles ramp. I have all of LaGuardia and the newly station, hopefully permanent station. I also have JFK. I have 2 UGE stations in Sarasota and Key West. So.
Okay. JFK, that's great. We did a story about Mike and you returning there not long ago. Went out online. It was a big hit with our members. They were very, very happy to get back in there. And that was because we had that language in the contract. So that was some great stuff. I'm glad to see those. There was a lot of happy faces that were there.
Yeah, they're very excited. Hopefully the FAA grants us those slots permanently, and we get everybody else that wants to come back that's currently out on furlough.
Okay. All right. So in representation, all of you have to work with committee members and shop stewards from different parts of the country. What piece of advice would you give the committees so that they can help their coworkers on grievances that they may come across?
I think what I share with, and especially newer committee people and even shop stewards, is just to rely on your work experience. A lot of folks that they're representing with company investigations, discipline, is work experience, and no one knows it better than you, especially if you've been at the airline for a while, knowing your job. Probably no one knows better than you as a steward, especially, how or why there was a 5-minute delay, or how or why you're seeing folks with attendance issues because they use public transportation. So I always tell folks, just use your common sense, but mainly your work experience, because you've probably dealt with those things in your time. Is probably key.
One of the things that we always talk about in our education classes is taking notes, right? And it's important for our committee people to take notes, because you guys usually are the ones that end up in the notes when you're handling a case farther up the elevation level in a grievance, correct? So would
Yeah,
you guys see
absolutely.
it?
We've won cases based on a shop steward's initial notes from an investigation. They're critically important. And any of those training classes that I do, I tell the guys all the time, your most important job in there is to take notes and make sure your grievant or the employee isn't bullied. But those notes are critically important.
Right. I know that's one of the things I wanted to definitely get out in this conversation today, because we've mentioned that before in other education classes, but I think it's important for our members to know out there, if they ever go in, make sure that they're getting that information down, because that could really be a big determination in the outcome of a case. So anything else would you guys want to recommend?
For me, Dave, I would say I tell all the new stewards and committee people, don't be afraid to tell a member, I don't know, and I'll get back to you. The worst thing you can do is make something up on the fly, give them the wrong answer, and then you've really much put a bad taste in their mouth from the start. It's better to say, I don't know, I'll get you the information, and then equally important is to follow up on the back end, actually get the right information. I make mistakes all the time and have to go back and say, you know what, I was wrong about that. But they appreciate the fact that you made the effort to communicate with them.
One other thing that I remind all our stewards and our committee people are, we are equal with the companies when we are in our union roles. Don't let the company push you around. You are an equal. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO of the company. If you're a steward or somebody with the IM, you're an equal to the company person.
Great point. Great point. So let me ask you, brothers, with what's been going on in the country today, I'm talking primarily about the pandemic and stuff, and all the division that seems to be going on. How important would you say that strengthening solidarity among our union membership? How would you guys, what would you guys like to say about that, about strengthening union membership and our solidarity?
Well, Dave, I think a big thing with United Airlines during the pandemic, they tried to violate our contracts and cut all our members in customer service and the ramp to part-time.
And stores.
And we fought back using the contract and the strength of our members, contacting their elected leaders in Congress, Senate, House of Representatives. And with that, we were able to fight the company, along with going to federal court. And we stopped them from doing that. Our contract held up, while other groups at United Airlines, not represented by the IM, had their hours cut. Our members did not have their hours cut during the pandemic. Excellent
point. Glad you brought that out. Well, before I close out, do any of you want to make mention of anything we might have missed, perhaps? Someone you want to talk about in the Machinists Union or the Machinists Union in general, and the things that we're doing as union members?
Dave, I'd just like to give a shout out to some of my committees. I can't name all of them, of course. Richard Roberts and Chris Olmsted from Stores do a fantastic job for me. My guys in Orlando, Gene Beatty and the entire committee, they do a fantastic job down there, as well as Joe Lanassa in Cleveland. And I really have a very strong committee and steward structure, and it makes my job a lot easier, because at the end of the day, I'm only as good as they are. If they can't do what they need to do, I can't do what I need to do. So it's really great to have such a good team, and I'm very grateful to them all.
Great. Anything else, guys?
I'd like to just give a shout out to my committees. Washington Dulles, I got Barb Martin, Billy Hoover, Billy Peer do an outstanding job for me in LaGuardia. I have Ivan Miranda. You did a story on Ivan not that long ago. He's doing a great job there. along with my committee people, Evelyn Rivera, and I got a new committeeman, Marcello, and all three of them are doing a great job. All the shop stewards in both locations, in all three locations, actually, in Chicago too, doing a great job. Appreciate all the work that they're doing. And in UGE, I got Sarasota, my shop steward down there, Gata. She's doing a great job too. Appreciate all the work she's doing.
Dave, and I'll go through this quickly, but I have a great committee structure also that worked for me in all my stations. As Mike said, we share Chicago. You got Mike Sinfield, Joey D, Greg Lajewski, Tony Licciardi. My maintenance instructors in San Francisco, I got Frank Bussey. In Denver, Dan Kellogg. Houston, Jeff McMath. Newark, Mike Carbone. Chicago, Mike Murphy. For my FTIs, and you just did a great story with them, I got Chip Wilson, the flight training program developer, Sid Spears. Carrie Like is the emergency procedure instructor in Denver. In Chicago, I have Grace Palatro, and in San Francisco, I have Aaron Muldoon. And then I did forget one of my assignments, which was UGE in Dayton. And there we don't have a committee structure. We have stewards. I have 3 stewards there, David Young, Ryan Flick, and Carrie O'Reilly. Just a shout out to all of them. All my success and the district success starts with the shop stewards in the committee and all these stations. And the last person I'd like to thank is our boss, Mike Clem, the president, directing general chairman of District Lodge 141. He is our support and gives us our guidance and does a great job as our leader.
I'll wrap it up with running down my committees. Trish Gahn, been a committee person here in Chicago for customer service for a while now, does a fantastic job. Ben Polonius, he's the load planner committee guy. Shirley Wells, committee person down in Fort Myers. And Alan Kerr is a newly appointed committee person in Pittsburgh. And all the shop stewards. Shop stewards are always the first point of contact normally when a member has an issue. Just want to thank, we have a strong shop steward list. They do a great job. And I'll wrap it up with right now, probably the most difficult job is the stewards over at UGE. They are struggling right now. They are short manpower, a lot of issues going on. But here in Chicago, we got a strong shop steward list. It's small, we want to grow it. But the 2 chief stewards I have, Patricia Washington, Margarita Ortega, do a fantastic job. I know sometimes they feel they're getting worn down, but they hang in there and do a great job for the membership. So thank you.
Thank you, brothers. Well, this wraps up this week's 141 report. I truly thank the 4 of you for taking the time out today to come on. I greatly appreciate it. When President Clem was on, we had well over 7,000 people, watch his video and get this information out, the duties that he performs. I'm really happy to be able to have you guys present a little inside look at what you do. You guys are very busy. Keep up the great work. Thanks to all our viewers for tuning in to watch our show each week. And we want to thank everyone who shares and follows and subscribes our 141 report on our social media sites, which can be found on im141.org. Our email link can be found on the main website, so be sure to sign up for that as well. Everyone have a great weekend. Stay safe. Brothers, thanks again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.